Just start by telling us, who is Michael Tellinger and what does he represent? What does he stand for?
Michael Tellinger is a human being who believes in the absolute freedom of humanity, in sharing knowledge and information with the people of South Africa and the world that will enable them to make the right decisions, to move us from an economic slavery system into true freedom and abundance, freedom from economic slavery, and abundance for all the people of South Africa that then expands into the rest of the world. Because this is where the Ubuntu Movement and the Ubuntu Party started. Ubuntu, after all, is an African philosophy. I'm the messenger bringing back Ubuntu into the lives of South Africans and let the other people around the world learn from our experiences. Everything and anything to do with the global economic structure, the entire way that it's been set up for the world and for individual countries, the way the central banks operate, how they control their governments, is part of the problem. So we've stopped focusing on that because it's like a circus. It's like a global circus going around creating problems and pretending that they'll have solutions for the people. It's the same old scenario that they create, problem, reaction, solution, that is manufactured for the different countries and the people of those countries to continue going on dividing the people and creating more division and separation and poverty and control. So as the Ubuntu Movement and the Ubuntu Party, we don't focus on any of that. We focus on providing people with the good news, the foundation of knowledge and information about money, the origins of money, who controls the money, how the banking families control our governments. When you go and deposit foreign currency in South Africa, at any bank, you have to first sign a disclaimer form that the money you're depositing was not received from a number of countries. Those countries are North Korea, Cuba, Iraq. Iraq's out of the way. It's Iran, Syria, and I forget which other, and one of them is North Sudan and South Sudan. And these are all the countries that do not belong to the Rothschild global banking family empire. So you can see what's going on here. Slowly but surely, these global banking families move into countries. This is how they destabilize countries that don't want to play the game with their global banking control.
What do you think the South African Reserve Bank stands for? And do you, in your opinion, think that it has actually enslaved South Africans? How has it affected the South Africans themselves and maybe the world at large as well?
Well, the South African Reserve Bank is like most the other central banks in the world. It was established in 1923, 10 years after the Federal Reserve System in the USA, 1913. And it's established by the Rothschild banking family. It's a private company that has the exclusive rights to issue and create money and control all the banks in South Africa. All the banks in South Africa report to Big Daddy, which is the South African Reserve Bank. They have the right to take an empty piece of paper, put a bunch of fancy logos on it and turn it into a
legal tender.
A 20 trillion piece of document. And this is how they buy, and not buy, this is how they steal our mineral wealth, our property, our land. Everything is stolen from the South Africans by the South African Reserve Bank. The global banking industry is the largest organized crime syndicate in the world. That's all it is. It is not a noble business. People must get over that thing. Oh, it's banking. It is an organized crime syndicate that has invaded countries, that has overthrown governments, that has killed, murdered, maimed, abducted, tortured. They have blood on their hands more than any other industry in the world. And sooner or later, the critical mass of this knowledge and information will filter through to the people on the street. And when the critical mass hits the street, I feel sorry for anyone in the banking industry. This is the most important thing we need to get across to the people of South Africa and everybody else that watches this program around the world. All the central banks of the world operate on the same basis. They have the exclusive rights to create money. So our governments are borrowing money from a private company. It's like saying to Anglo-American or Edgar's or some private company, you have the exclusive right to make money. Anybody else does it, they go to jail for life. And that brings up a serious issue. If our government is allowing a private company called the South African Reserve Bank to issue this debt money that enslaves all of us, steals our land, our country, our minerals, everything, they're either ignorant of it or they are knowledgeable of what's going on and they're lying to us. Either of those two situations does not make them fit to lead anyone. In England, it still says, I promise to pay the bearer 10 pounds of sterling silver or 20 pounds of based on the face value on that piece of paper. It's a promissory note to pay in value of silver or gold. Now that's what these notes were, promissory notes. I promise to pay. This is why this whole money system, it's just a slavery system. It has no meaning, it has no value. First of all, we need to educate and inform the people about the money and the trickery and the lies behind it. Once people internalize that and they become comfortable with the fact that money is truly just a slavery system that was imposed on us, we don't need money, we need each other. Remember, money does nothing. People do everything. We grow the food, we plant the seeds, we solve the mathematical equations, we develop the technology. Money doesn't do that. What money does, it constantly gets in the way between our dreams and our hopes for what we want to do with our lives and preventing us from doing that. The first thing that needs to happen is we need to shut down the Reserve Bank. It's a private company. We cannot allow a private company to issue our money. We have to issue our money for ourselves, the people. A government of the people, for the people, by the people, that issues money for the people. Tax-free, interest-free, debt-free, no levies, no fees, no inflation. If we produce our own money, why would we charge ourselves interest or get ourselves into debt? Money should be a tool to promote development, to promote abundance for the people. So that if I want to start anything that benefits my community, and this is really part of the Ubuntu Party plan on a national level. We have a different plan for a local level, but on a national level is to create a people's bank that issues money tax-free and interest-free and allows anyone to move into any small town, any community, and start any kind of project that benefits their community that'll be funded by the People's Bank. And that then filters through to the skills, whether you want to start a dance studio or a research facility for rocket science. And then it
just continues, the chain continues.
And you
like
never
that.
have to pay it back because you're not getting the money for yourself to buy land and or enrich yourself. You're getting the money to create a project, public works or a community project that benefits the community, that then creates skills transfer, opens the doors for invention, for research that has no ceiling. Money should never be the ceiling to our progress, but that's what it's become because it's private money.
You did raise a point where you said that South Africa is registered as a corporation on the US Stock Exchange.
Yeah.
How did you mean by saying that?
Every country, every state, every province, every city is registered as a corporation. This is one part of the big lie that you expose when you start researching this enslavement system that's controlled by the central banks, by the global banking industry, the financial stock markets, and this one big giant game, this Ponzi scheme that was created by the banking families that make it look so important and so complicated that only a few people understand it. No, it's one big Ponzi scheme that was created to enslave us and made to look complicated. So every country is a corporation. When the South African Constitution is the constitution of what? The Republic of South Africa. In there already lies the lie. Most of the people in South Africa believe that it's a constitution for the people. No, it's a constitution for a corporation called the Republic of South Africa. We live in a land called South Africa. The company is called the Republic of South Africa. So when you read, this is the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa, what you're reading is it's a constitution of a corporation. It has nothing to do with the rights of the people, but the rights of the corporation. And in the first preamble, the first opening paragraph of our Constitution, it says, it gives you the whole emotional garbage to hook everybody in, right? We believe in the freedom and we honor those that fought and died and blah, blah, blah. That's all part of the emotional stuff to hook people in. And then it says, and we believe that the country belongs to its people. We believe, we think, we don't know that it does. Can you see the difference? And South African government issues an annual report to a law firm called Linklater's in New York City, who have just opened a branch here in Sandton City.
Okay, now, so what do you make of the idea by the late Muammar Gaddafi of a United States of Africa using one currency, which then he had proposed the gold dinar? Does that make sense? Is that strategic? Is that productive? Will that be a successful project? What is your take on that?
What Lalo is saying is that that idea of Gaddafi is what got him killed, because that put him completely in opposition to the Rothschild banking empire.
So this idea of a united Africa states eliminates the Rothschild empire completely?
Absolutely. the first bank in South Africa, just so that people may not know this, the first bank in South Africa was started in 1652 on behalf of the Dutch East India Company. And the Dutch East India Company was the first bank in this country.
Is it connected to Rothschild?
Well, it's the royal bloodlines. Dutch East India Company was the royal elite from Holland, the Prince of Orange, and they all connected. Those bloodlines, those kings are all connected to each other. Okay. So you see this control goes back thousands of years, and 500 years they decided, and you can see it was a period where they decided to invade the world and create what I call a species with amnesia. And the way you create a species with amnesia, you invade the free world, you sever the people from their ancestors, you remove all their knowledge, you kill all their wise men and women and their knowledge keepers that have been holding knowledge for thousands of years, you burn all their written material, you destroy all their knowledge, and you create a species with amnesia. So now we're sitting with a problem in Africa with all the wise men and women that have carried that information. There are very few left. We need to honor them and respect them and bring their knowledge back. Okay. Start sharing that.
In the last 3 minutes, what are your thoughts on the issue of nationalization?
I think the wealth of the people should be on the hands of the people.
Nationalization is a double-edged sword. Nationalization, if it's nationalized by the corporation called the Republic of South Africa, then absolutely not, because then it belongs to the bankers, right? Now you see why the country is a corporation. This is how they stole Eskom from us. This is how they stole the railways from us. This is how they steal all the mineral rights from us. So if the Republic of South Africa or the government nationalizes it, that means it's owned by the corporation. If it belongs to the people, that's something completely different.
2 more minutes to go. Any final remarks? Would you like to say something? You are a young, youth activist, speaking on behalf of all the young people out there that are listening and watching right now.
I'd just like to say, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. I mean, there's the UBUNTU Party here, and they are doing great work. And I think it's really empowering to the people. This is a bright future for South Africa, and it needs a lot of young people who are going to believe in this vision of taking back the power to the people, not killing anyone, but mobilizing and providing and prospering.
If the young people of South Africa and the world don't stand up and do something now, they will have nothing left by the time they're 30 or 40 years old. It'll all have been stolen from them by the governments and the banks that control them. We have a future, we have a plan, it's a simple plan. Remember, the country belongs to its people, the government is supposed to be the servant of the people. And this is exactly what the UBUNTU Party proposes to do, is to bring back the control into the hands of the people and let people govern themselves in their own communities.
Well, thank you very much. 30 minutes is never enough time.